Hi, Allison County. We are interrupting the Fair Queens video. It was pre-recorded, so as soon as we're done, we will get right back to it. We have Mr. Philip Shackelford here with us, and he is a very, very busy man, and so we needed to grab him while he was available. He is the Livestock Superintendent at the Austin County Fair, and we're glad to have you. And pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you talk, and you tell us what is your responsibility, because I promise you, this is my first fair. Everywhere I look, there you are. So you obviously have a lot of responsibilities. Go. Tell us what you do.
So our Austin County Fair is made up of 50 directors, and so we meet monthly. And so our whole goal and aim is to put this fair on, and our fair is designed to do a couple of different things. One is to provide money for youth that are in the 4-H or FFA programs, and then also two is support agriculture and promote agriculture. So that's kind of our two goals. And so the 50 member directors work all year to put this thing on, because this is where we make the money that we can throw into our scholarship fund, and then also we can sell animals in our youth livestock auction, and then also a couple other auctions that we have where youth can participate. And so with my role as the livestock superintendent, so any animal that comes on the ground that's going to be shown by a 4-H or FFA member, all those different species coordinate with me to make sure they have space, to make sure that they have what they need, and then also to kind of coordinate where they would work, what the judges would be during the judging during the week, and then also stalling and and how we would load them out on Sunday.
So what all do you have? You have.
So we start the week off with our poultry, and so we have turkey toms and turkey hens, so boys and girls, and those are two different shows. And we also have what we call a broiler show, and that is chickens. So show a pen 3 of chickens. We show just an individual turkey tom or an individual turkey hen, and then we also have rabbits. So we show a pen of rabbits, and that's a pen of 3 rabbits. And those rabbits can be purchased, so they can be bred. And then we also have a breeding rabbit show as well.
And so that would be a single rabbit?
That's a single rabbit, yep.
Okay.
Yep. It would be the mama rabbit, the doe, is what we call it. And so we would also show those. The next show that we would have would be our lamb show. And so we show those up in the what's called the Loon Barn. It was named in honor of one of our past directors and past presidents, Harold Loon. Well, we show those up there, and then we also show goats. I guess the next show that we would have would be our swine show, and that's a big one because that's at night, and we'll have the barn will be packed full of people coming back and forth. But we do show them. We had somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 120, 130 pigs this year. And then we also show steers and heifers and colts. So we show geldings and fillies. And that wrapped up Thursday night, right around 9 o'clock when we finally got done. And then based on the placing, the kiddos and then in their individual shows, that's how they qualified for the youth livestock auction yesterday. And that's what we were doing yesterday. That started at 10 and it was over somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 o'clock last night.
Yeah, we actually streamed it for people to see. And they were very interested. And I learned something because I'm a city girl. I'm going to be moving down here in June. So this is my first fair. I mean, that's why I'm asking you, because I'm learning a lot. We were watching it and I saw the rabbits, the 3 rabbits. So for, $15,000. And then a hog came across, and it was $20. And I was like, how can 3 rabbits sell for that much and a hog sell for that much? And Greg told me, he goes, that's per pound. I was like, oh, that makes more sense.
Right.
But I couldn't see his big hogs. I'm thinking, okay, meat, and we're not, So yes, I learned something. Now, I have a question before you go on. Do you, they bring them out and do you judge immediately, or do you bring them out and they stay and then you judge on certain days?
Yeah, so what we do is, that's a good question, because we actually let them drop them off, get them comfortable in their new environment, because this is for for 90% of them, this is the first time they've ever left their environment at home, aside from coming to tag in. Okay, because we do have to tag them in to make sure we. Right, everybody has a tag. Rabbits have tattoos. Even our birds, our chickens and turkeys have wing bands.
Oh, okay.
That identify a number with their owner, and so. But aside from that, they don't get away from home too often.
Right.
And so we let them at least settle in for one day typically, and then the next day is when we typically will show on our larger species. On our poultry and rabbits, those aren't as volatile, and so they'll come in and be sifted right away, and then they'll go to shift.
I know what does sifting mean.
Okay, so that's a good question. And so sift means we're going to basically look for blemishes, and they look at their quality, and once we've done that, then they can go be in the regular show.
So if you have the cage of 3 rabbits and 2 of them are good and 1 of them is bad, the one goes away, or does the whole group have to go?
So if there is a problem with one of those rabbits, then yes, the whole bunch would have to leave.
So it's considered like tainted type thing.
Right. And so sometimes on birds, for instance, you may find broken wings. You may find maybe something that has gone wrong with their breast, and so we're going to excuse that one. And we typically on our bird show, and I'd have to look at the rules. I'm not real sure on the rabbits, but I'm thinking this is probably right. We let them bring in a backup, just in case that.
That was going to be my next thing. 'Cause that would have to be heartbreaking to a kid. One is bad, and then you're just like, sorry. Which, I mean, that's life. You got to learn it, but still. Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. Is if you had a substitute, stick that one in real quick.
Yes, and that's the way we definitely do it on the birds, and we have done for several years. So I want to give every kid every opportunity to participate in the show.
Right, and that because I went to the barn, and I don't know exactly what they're doing there. They have hogs out there, I don't know, skeleton or okay, because I walked up and 2 of those hogs decided to go at it. And the little guy's out there, he's trying to stop them, and that was kind of why I was asking about them settling down, because I can't see you bring it in and you're judging, and it's wired from having driven 15, 20 minutes, whatever, and then it's like it's really a good hog, but he's just
And some of them are like that. Some of them get a little freedom. They get in the big arena they've never seen before, and they want to run.
Yeah.
But we try to instill in our kids in the 4-H and FFA program that look, how you want to place here needs to be how you want to work with them at home, and you want to be consistent with working with the animal every day, making sure you're grooming them every day, noticing any of those kind of blemishes that they may have, make sure they're fed with good feed, most of the time twice a day. Make sure they have good clean water, and make sure their health is good. And so also part of their health is making sure their pens are clean. So these kids spend a lot of time grooming on their animals and working with them at home before they ever bring them up here.
I was saying, I laughed. I watched, we videotaped, and so of course I got to watch the bucket calf.
Yes.
And the one little boy, I felt so sorry for him because his calf was being absolutely just stubborn. He laid down, and that little one was trying to do it. And I felt so sorry for him because you just don't know. Because like I only have cats and dogs. I have no big animals, but I know that they can be unpredictable. And so I felt sorry for that little fella. He tried, and the teenagers that were helping him, they tried. So it was. That was but he was a trooper all through it. He kept smiling. He kept, kept going. So I was like, good for you, dude. But all right. So I'm sorry, I got off track. That was just too cute. All right. So we've got sifting and then now, are you an actual judge, or do you just MC or?
So not at this show. I'm not a judge at this show.
Okay.
So, I have to live here too, so I wouldn't want to make the decision on who's going to make the youth livestock auction or how they place. So no, but I do judge in other places. So I about hung my judging hat up though, just for the sake of time. I just don't have a whole lot of time to do it anymore.
All right, so look, quickly, like you said, for the birds, you look for the size of the breast, and then is that pretty much it? Like wingspan, anything like that, or is it most of what you can eat?
Yeah. So on birds, the most valuable piece of meat on a turkey or a chicken is going to be the breast, and so that's really how they're judged. And so we want that breast to be wide, and we want it to be deep, and then we want it to be long as well. And so to find those birds is really a trick, because you have to be able to feed them the right way, and genetically they all come out of the same stock. So we buy them from a central location, and so all the chicks are hatched, and so when our kids get them, they're just little bitty chicks.
Right.
So they have to keep a close eye on them all the way through and see how they're growing and progressing, and then they have to cull them based on how big that breast is or how long it is. They may have some abnormality in one size longer than the other, so they want to make sure that breast is the best they can make it.
And then on the rabbits, what are you looking for?
So the rabbits, they look for a few different things. One is you want to make sure that on their back, and we have the same feature on us, believe it or not. We have a rib cage,
Okay.
and we have our latissimus dorsi muscle, which runs on either side of our spine, and then we have a break where our ribs are no longer, you can't feel them anymore. And so on an animal, that's the parts that we're going to judge. And on rabbits, that's what you would judge. You want to feel the back and see if they have good muscle shape on that latissimus dorsi, and then how wide they are in their rib cage as well. And so because the wider they are, the more body capacity that they have, the more ability to put on meat that they've got. So the judge is going to feel down the back of that rabbit, and then also that area where there's no ribs, we call that the loin. And so he wants to feel the loin to see how wide that is as well.
So
they'll also look into the ears to make sure that there's no evidence of mites or any kind of insects that could be bothering that rabbit. So that's more of a blemish kind of a thing.
right.
So, but that's basically how you're going to judge those rabbits.
So and we're gonna keep going with the other ones too, but basically what you're doing is you're saying, if I want to eat this animal, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that if I was to sell this, that I would do it because I would get the most meat for my price. Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure I was right. Okay, so then we've done the birds, the rabbits, then goats and sheep. How do you? Because I know when y'all have the kids stand, like I said, I'm a city girl. They always stretch them out and they make that head go up. And what are you?
So on the lambs and goats and cattle, to some degree the horses too, but even in pigs, it's that is the show look that we want. That's just a presentation.
Okay.
So we want them to have their heads up, to where they're kind of pointed in one direction, because what that does is that elevates their neck, it flattens their back out, and hopefully they've worked them at home enough on the lambs and goats that they will set them up, and all 4 feet will be underneath shoulders, and then their hips, maybe they're slightly pushed back just a little bit. So a young person is going to be at the head of that animal, and they're going to push that animal, and they teach them to do this at home. They're going to push that animal, so when the judge goes to feel the back and the loin and then the hip, that will be kind of like us flexing our muscles.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So we want that to be kind of hard, not too hard, but we want it to be hard, and we also want that ability to know that we've got a lot of muscle and we've got a lot of internal capacity.
Okay. And then so that's pretty much the same with the cows.
Yes.
Okay.
So you could think of all of our show animals as athletes.
Okay.
I've also heard them described as bodybuilders in a beauty contest.
Okay.
Okay. So, but that's what they are. They're athletes. The animals that are shown in livestock shows are the top quality.
Right.
So they're not just your run-of-the-mill goat that's out in the pasture or chicken in a barnyard. These are actually bred to be those athletes, to be those bodybuilders in the beauty contest.
All right, so my poor little bottle calf that I have, who's all wobbly and doesn't have a mama, which I don't think
May not make it. No,
she may not make it, but
cut,
that's
yeah.
okay. I love her, so that's all that matters. I've been getting a kick out. I tell you what, I have a lot of respect because just bottling that one calf is harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yes,
you know,
it
and
probably
so,
is.
and I know the kids have the parents help and stuff, but I know most parents who are show parents, they want that kid to do 98% of it because that's the whole point.
Well, we so definitely want them to, and it's kind of a thing. Whenever the kids are younger, their abilities aren't going to be such where they can do everything, and so the parents are very involved. Especially on the younger end, as they grow and progress and get older, get stronger, get more wise, get more experience. We want them to kind of take the reins and start doing some things. Now, the parents, we're still going to make the management decisions.
Right.
What we're feeding, how much we exercise, how much medicine that we're going to give if one of them's sick or something like that. And then, a lot on the grooming side as well. But as far as the day-to-day chores and operations and management of that animal, we want the kid to be able to do all those things.
Now, I do have a question, like with athletes, they have a big thing to get steroids and stuff like that. Do y'all test for anything like that? Or obviously you don't want to do it, but...
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We actually do. We have a mandatory drug testing policy. Okay. All of our champion and reserve animals are tested no matter what. And then we also draw one random sample from each of our species and test them as well. Because, we don't want people to cheat, using steroids is a good analogy.
Right.
And there have been instances in the past and other shows that has happened. But what we're also trying to do is we're trying to create a safe product for the consumer.
Right, absolutely.
And so one of the things that we started several years ago when we started drug testing was we also put in a policy that all of our kids would have to go through something called quality counts. And that is an educational program that's done by the Extension Service, teaching kids about the food supply continuum. So whatever you raise eventually will end up in the food supply.
Right.
And so we don't want any drug residues, whether they be steroids. We also don't want antibiotics. We don't want medicines used off-label. We don't want foreign material. Such as broken needles or things like that could potentially happen. Right. We don't want any of that to be in the food supply, so they go through the training and they learn about all this, and then hopefully they're better educated on when to give medicines and what kind of medicines to do, and then also to actually look at a label and read the label. Men are bad at this, and this is like reading instructions on how to put something together. But we have to be able to teach them to read labels, know this is the proper dosage, this is how we administer it, and this is when we administer it. And if there is a withdrawal time on that medication, we want them to follow that withdrawal time.
Wow. So they actually learn a whole lot. All right. A couple more things because I know you're probably busy, but the kids that, the FFA kids and the 4-H kids and stuff that mentor these, like with the bucket cannon, how are they, or like the champion drive, how are they matched up? Did the kids come and say, hey, I want to do this? Do you say, I think you'd be good? And then like what kind of interaction? Obviously it's prior to the show, but like how much do they meet? Maybe weekly, monthly?
So it's just kind of two different things there. One, on the champion drive side, those kids that participate in champion drive, and maybe I'll give a definition of what champion drive is. Champion drive is a show that's geared towards getting kids that are in either life skills classes or special education classes the opportunity to come up here to the Austin County Fair and exhibit an animal in a show ring, just like anybody else would do. And so those kids sign up through their local schools, and then they come here, and so then they're buddied up whenever they get here.
Oh, okay.
And so there's really about an hour's worth of interaction between our our buddies and our showers, so they do get to know their name and maybe what they want to name the animal, you know, what they like to do and those sorts of things. Now behind the scenes for that one, there's a whole army of people, of adults and committee people that have gotten with the schools. They've got the background on all the kids and coordinated the day that we will do those shows, and also raise money for prizes. You know, T-shirts that our buddies wear and also our showers wear, but all the prizes and everything are donated. So that's the way that one's done. On our bucket calf show, it's a little bit more intense because we call them mentors, and all of our mentors are 4-H and FFA members, just like our buddies were, but they're 4-H and FFA members, and they would sign up through their ag chapter or through the 4-H office to be a mentor. And then once a kid enters or makes known that they want to enter a bucket calf, then they're assigned a mentor. And so that mentor can go out there weekly. They can go daily if they want, if they had the time, and work with that young person on halter breaking, on grooming, on making sure that maybe even giving them a bottle, you know, how to mix the feed, how to mix the milk that they're going to be giving them. So that one's just maybe a little bit more intense because it's a little bit longer process, but it does teach a few things to both parties. Our bucket calf kids are between 4 and 8, so they're not 4-H age yet, but teaches those mentors how to actually work with somebody and teach somebody something, as opposed to being taught in school. They're the teachers.
Right. I tell you, that's one of the things that I'm so astounded with, and I've said it many times, that, you know, teenagers get a bad rap, but these kids, the things that they're learning to be all the things that good citizens are. They're learning to be kind to those that, you know, might be handicapped, to help those in need, to treat children kindly, to treat each other kindly, to be respectful. Every teenager I've talked to has said yes ma'am or no ma'am to me when they've spoken to me. And it just blows my mind because most kids are like, yeah, whatever. You know, these guys, yes ma'am, yes ma'am. And boys and girls, and it doesn't matter. I mean, from 18 down to 5, they're yes ma'am and no ma'am. And it just, it's refreshing to see and gives me hope, you know, for the future.
Well, and you know, I was a county agent for 22 years, and I still work for the Extension Service, and I've been at that for 30 years. And so our youth program is 4-H. And so our motto is to make the best better. So
you're doing it.
I'm glad that you complimented our kids, and with our FFA programs, it's the same thing. You know, we try to take good kids and make them even better through these projects, and with the livestock projects especially. And there's all kinds of things going on out here too. Livestock judging is going on right now. Tractor Tech contest. We've had the Skillathons, as you alluded to. We've had nursery floral and horticulture contest, and ag met contest was earlier in the week. But all those things, we try to give them a task, put them with something that they're interested in, and then let them work towards success.
Right.
And that's, I mean, if you think about human beings, that's what we all want to do.
Right.
Find our passion and work hard at it.
And sometimes you don't know what your passion is until you try it.
That's right.
Because I talked to somebody, maybe you asked one of them, you know, are you going to show rabbits again next year? No, I think I'm going to try goats. Mm-hmm. So they obviously tried, I don't remember the actual, but you know, it was one thing, you're going to show this animal again? No, I think I'm going to try something else. So obviously that animal did not spark their excitement, and now they're going to try something else.
That's true, and we'll have kids that run the whole gamut. They may start off with rabbits and maybe a pen of brawlers, and by the time they're ending their show career, they're showing geldings or fillies.
Now, when does their show career end?
So the show career goes basically from 3rd grade to senior in high school. Okay. So 9 to 19 is kind of what the age range is. So, you know, if a kid was held back, you know, for grades or for, you know, a late birthday or something, you know, we're not going to penalize the kid, you know, just because they rolled into their 19th birthday. Yeah. So, So as long as they're a senior in high school and third grade, they're good to go.
Okay, now I have a couple questions about okay, what is the difference between the grand champion, the reserve champion, those things?
Okay, so good question. So what we do in all of our species is we divide them up based on weight, typically. So that's how they're divided up. The only one I can think of that's not done that way are Halfer heifers. So we divide them up by age, because you want certain cattle to do different things at certain stages. So once they're divided up in different classes based on their age or based on their weight, then they're going to show, and the judge is going to place them. The top animal out of each class gets to come back and show for the overall grand champion of that species. And so they'll have like a little separate show just for all the first places. Okay? So it's kind of like the Super Bowl of whatever species it is.
Okay.
And so the judge will select his grand champion. And so if the grand champion comes out of, let's say we have 8 classes of pigs, it comes out of class 8. Well, then the second place pig out of class 8 now gets to come in and show for what we call reserve champion. Okay, so it's kind of the second best pig or animal in that species.
Yeah, because it's usually when you say reserve, you think that it's going to be like if something happens to, would happen to that first one. And so that's what I didn't know. Because usually when you reserve something, you keep it. So that was my confusion there. But
no, it just means that we have the champion. That's the best one in the whole show, and then the second best one is called the reserve.
Okay, all right. And real quick before we let you go, because I know you're busy. What do you do in the AgriLife?
Okay, good question. So
I'm winning my questions.
I met Greg several years ago because I wanted to do some broadcasts when I was a county extension agent. So, like I said, I was a county extension agent for 22 years, 15 of them here at Austin County. And then I went to A&M and got a PhD, and then I became an extension specialist on campus. And then about 6 years ago, I moved over into a administrative role. So now I'm kind of a supervisor of county agents in a region. So my region goes from Corpus to Orange and then up to Madisonville, and it's called the Southeast region. So there's 36 counties in that region, and so I'm responsible for the agents' programming efforts. And I'm over all the ag and natural resources agents, horticulture agents, coastal marine resources agents, integrated pest management agents, and half of the 4-H.
So your list just gets longer and longer and longer. Right. How do you keep it all straight?
I'm not real sure that I do, but yeah, but it is a good way to interact with all those agents, because I will make periodic visits to their counties whenever they're putting on educational programs. And go to a program and maybe give them a few pointers or kind of help them out. Sometimes whenever they're having a committee meeting, I will try to attend some of those, try to help them plan an event that's coming up. But it's something going on all the time, and I really like that. And the one thing that I loved about being a county agent with Extension was the people interaction. So I get to, because we ask our county agents to have local committees to identify local issues and then provide an educational program on that local issue.
See, now I like that, because one of the things that I don't like is hi, we're from the state and you do this.
Right.
And it may have nothing to do with your area.
Yeah, and that Extension is totally opposite of that. We are actually all grassroots. So we get local people, bring them together, identify local issues, and then do educational programs to hopefully educate the public on best practices they could do. And that's not just in agriculture. So it's in 4-H, we do the same thing. And then also in what we call family and community health. I don't know if you had the chance to meet Michelle.
I did. She came and visited with us.
Okay, great. Well, she does a fantastic job. She was my coworker for 15 years. We jokingly called each other husband and wife.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Work husband,
yes,
work wife,
yes,
yeah.
and we did a whole lot of things together as a team. But she's focused on the health side of things. So she may do programs on diabetes awareness or how to get an exercise routine
Yeah, I told us.
or eating healthy.
I'm gonna come take that one from her.
Yeah, and then she has a group of volunteers she works with that help her plan. Okay, these are the things that I see in my community that people struggle with. Let's do a program on this.
Right.
So, yeah, what we don't want to be is like the old Ronald Reagan adage is, I'm from the government, I'm here to help.
Right.
So we want, as county agents and extension, we want to be embedded in the community. We want to be part of the community. We want to build local partnerships and work with local people to solve local issues.
So you take more of the servant role rather than you're going to do what I say.
Definitely. Oh, yes, definitely.
That is wonderful. Do you have any other parting words? Anything anybody needs to know?
Well, no, I'm glad to see Austin County news online and here at the Austin County Fair. Glad to kind of reconnect with my old friend here, Greg, and I look forward to you guys coming, for many more years to come.
Well, we hope so too. And if you ever find that you have a new program or a nifty program or something that you want, give us a call. We've got, we can mobile studio. We got studio at the home place, and so we'll be glad to help you because what you do is so wonderful. And as a future resident, I greatly appreciate what you do because this is going to be my home now until so.
Well, it's a good place to be. I can tell you that.
I'm excited, very excited. All right, and so Mr. Phil Shackelford, Austin County, you take care.